one in there. Summerworld here, back for a review. And in case it skips your attention, I'm not doing Transformers. No, I'm doing something else altogether. Okay, now in the 1980s you had a vast range of action series come out, and they came out with such regularity that you'd swear that they'd been given a termination agreement, that all action series were going to stop by the year 1990. There was an unbelievable, they swamped the market. You had the likes of Transformers and G.I. Joe, both of which have survived to the modern day, but you had loads of others as well. You had Mask, Voltron, G-Force, Defenders of the Earth, Visionaries, Centurions, you know, and even for girls there was the likes of Gem, My Little Pony, Care Bears, you know, a whole range of these cartoons that while, okay, for the girls they weren't strictly action, but they were along the same lines. They were aimed at girls. Those kind of cartoons were aimed at girls the same way that the fighty killy ones were aimed at boys. And there was others as well that are virtually unknowns now, like cartoons like Sharky and George. You know, and I remember another one, Dr. Snuggles, which was painstakingly cute and sickening. And then there was this one, and this was probably, even though it hasn't survived, one of the better ones. And it wasn't released by Hasbro, unlike Visionaries and Transformers, which was released by Hasbro. This one wasn't. This was called Dinoriders. And Dinoriders was an amalgamation of two boys' loves, dinosaurs and big sci-fi weaponry. And it came out in the late 80s, and unlike many action series that died out, Dinoriders lasted for 3 years. Its toy range, sorry, lasted for 3 years. You had 3 complete seasons of it, series of it. You only had one series of the cartoon, which was 14 episodes. Well, 13 episodes, and then the continuation to the next series of toys, which was the Ice Age Adventures, which was really stupid, but I'll get to that. Dinoriders, the toys were some of the most detailed that you could get, and it was a really original idea. Unlike Transformers, which was just a rip-off of the Diaclones. You know, it was a really original idea, and it was a really popular idea at the start. The fact that it only had 14 cartoon episodes, but the toy range ran for 3 years, and then got 2 sets of reissues for a completely different series. But again, I'll get to that in time. Okay, the story of Dinoriders is well into the future. There is a race of telepathic humans called Valorians, who, this one single planet, is at war with an evil armada, all-conquering empire called the Rulons. The Valorians are led by Questar, and they have this thing called the Step, which is like a power crystal. It's a power conduit, and they get sucked into the past whilst running from this giant armada of ships, which all look exactly the same, apart from the fact that the flagship is just a little bit bigger. As in comparing a pea to a sprout, but there we go. They end up on prehistoric Earth, and the Valorians land on Earth, and they suddenly realise, hang on, there's dinosaurs here. And they proceed to make friends with them with these telepathic devices called amps. And they basically start communicating, and apparently all you need to do to get a dinosaur to do whatever you want for however long you want is to turn around and go, "Hi, we're friends." The Rulons have a much more brutal way of doing it, and they capture the they capture the dinosaurs. I nearly said Dinobot then. They capture the dinosaurs and stick mind control devices on them called brain boxes. Now, one thing you should bear in mind is that the Valorians had one crashed spaceship. The Rulons had one crashed spaceship. But somehow, these two ships managed to have on board enough weaponry to outfit huge armies. I mean, the armament that was on these weapons was immense. It was phenomenal, the amount of firepower that they could put on them. Now, the Valorians, naturally being the peaceful, you know, honest, good, day-to-day people that they were, settle into their new home and start planting crops and raising a lifestyle there. Krulos, who is the leader of the Rulons, is he wants to get back to his armada and his empire and his all-conquering, all-nastiness kind of job. And he finds out that the Valorians are on Earth as well, and immediately and he knows that he has to get their step crystal in order to power his ship, in order to get back to his own time. So he immediately starts this crusade of conquering the Valorians. Now, under Questar, who is the leader of the Valorians, you have just a plethora of various humans. But under the Rulons, you have what would either an alliance of various species, all under the control of Krulos. Now, you have you see lots and lots of them, but the main ones that you see would be the Vipers, which are basically snake men, the ant men, the hammerheads, who are blue men with hammerhead shark heads. You've also got crocodiles, stingrays. There's one that looks like a locust, kind of thing, and they are all ruled over by Krulos, who is this tyrannical, evil, monstrous, warmongering, power-hungry frog. Now, I don't know totally 100% for sure, but I'm fairly certain that snakes eat frogs. But yes, Krulos, this almighty frog who has to live inside a fishbowl, is commanding this vast army of evil monsters. And they immediately set out to conquer the Valorians, and they fail miserably. The cartoon itself, it's very anachronistic, I think is the word, in that the dinosaurs that are in there, they're supposed to be prehistoric Earth, but fuck knows where, because you have the likes of T-Rex in there, and Diplodocus in there, and Dimetrodon in there, and Placerian in there, Monoclonus, Torosaurus, Stegosaurus, Kentosaurus, Pteranodon, and all these dinosaurs are all in there, and of course they're all separated by millions of years of evolution. I mean, Dimetrodon certainly did not live in the same time period as Tyrannosaurus Rex, neither did Diplodocus. So it doesn't really pay an awful lot of sense about that as well. The other thing as well is the Valorians are supposed to be human, or though it's never said, yes, we are human beings, they are certainly giving the impression that they are humans from the future. But they've got remarkably shorter in the eons or centuries or however long forward into the future it is. Because I'm 5'10", okay, now if I'm standing up, one of the dinosaurs that both the Valorians and the Rulons ride is the Deinonychus. And on me, a Deinonychus' head would sit about here. So they're about chest height on me. But the dinoriders and the Rulons ride these dinosaurs no problem. So they must be at least half human height. So, but that's another thing that's in the cartoon. But of course, 80s cartoons didn't have to make sense. I mean, look at Centurions. You know, they've got these big bulky suits, which then attach huge cannons to their chest. So there we go. They didn't have to make sense in the 80s. And most of them, in fact, did not. Now, at the start, I mean, I have to admit, I would hate to be a sodden Valorian. Because all they do, every episode, is build that damn wall. They build the wall, Krulos comes in, and promptly smashes it over. What do they do after they've finished? They rebuild the wall. If I was a Valorian, and Questar ordered me to rebuild the wall for the umpteenth time, I'd tell him to stuff it. Because I don't know how they didn't mutiny. They must have got so sick of building that flipping wall. It has to be said as well that the Dino Riders aren't particularly in the way of conservation. They chop down trees, they till up the earth, they must dam rivers. You know, at least the Rulons are quite obvious about it. You know, they blow up entire rock formations and jungles in their constant battle. And at the start of the series, it becomes very much apparent the Valorians want to protect the dinosaurs. You know, even the Rulon dinosaurs, they try to just shoot the Rulons, not the dinosaurs themselves. That's the beginning of the series. By the end of the series, all that style of finesse and hit and run defensive attacks it's all out the window, and all you end up with is all out slugfests between the biggest and the baddest of both sides' dinosaurs. So it really must change. But the Valorians, despite being this peaceful people, you'd think would have got it into their sense. Hang on, you've beaten the Rulon attack for the umpteenth time. They're fucking running away, usually because Krulos has fallen off his T-Rex. But you don't press the advantage. All they end up doing is just restoring the status quo. The Rulons attack, the Rulons run away, and the Valorians rebuild the fence. But anyway, the cartoon is still a lot of fun. Though there's some very stereotypical characters in there. I mean, and their names reflect their characters. I mean, for instance, the old blind wise guy, I don't mean wise ass, I mean wise man, is called Mindseye. You know, the hot-headed hero, Youngstar. The annoying little teen, Lad. You know, but it did run quite a lot, and I'm really rambling on this video. I better hurry it up, or I'm not going to be able to upload it. The voice actors that are in there are obviously very well known. Frank Welker, instantly recognisable as Krulos. Peter Cullen has more of a sidekick role in the fact that he voices Gunner. It's actually David Gilvenas, who was also in Transformers, who voices Questar. Other famous voice actors would be Chris Latta, who died in 1995, voicing Rasp, and he voiced Starscream. So Welker and Latta again have this all-powerful tyrant with the sneaky, cowardly, just waiting to stab his leader in the back sidekick in Rasp. So it's very Megatron Starscream. Onto the toys themselves. Now the toys were absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is just a Pteranodon, and the detail in it is phenomenal. It's gorgeous, absolutely fantastic, to the point where when the line of dinoriders itself ended in 1990, the Smithsonian Institution took it over, repainted it, removed all the daft little walkie things that the T-Rex and the Diplodocus and I think the Stegosaurus did it as well, removed the walking parts and actually marketed them as museum quality pieces, and they really are really nice pieces. And they come, obviously, the Rulon playsets come with things like this. Very nifty little traps. I've only got Rulon playsets at the moment, but I do have some Valorian ones coming to me. And then you got this range of weaponry that you could clip on. And the one thing that I have to be saying is, anybody who's ever owned a Dino Rider toy, you know what a bugger these are, because you keep losing them. You cannot keep a hold of them. And you strap the toys on. You strap all the gun parts and everything on. And a lot of them just clip in, though some of them were actually elastic bands, which are very hard to find in any shape or form now, because well, they're 20 years old, they've rotted. Okay. Then you got, and the dinosaurs weren't the only well-detailed thing. The figurines were really well-detailed. Now this is Rasp. I'm just going to show you, right, to give you some size of size-wise. This is a Games Workshop model. This is one of my converted Night Lords. Okay, now these stand an inch high. There you go. Oh, there's the size comparison. Okay, so they really are quite nice. My phone's vibrating. Who's ringing me? Oh, he can wait. I'll call him back in a bit. Okay, so they're really quite nice. They also came with both the Valorians and the Rulons came with these little add-ons like rifles and shields, and the Valorians had amps, and they all came with ladders and stuff like that. And there you have a Rulon Pteranodon with this very articulated toy in rasp, and all the Valorians were these very well articulated toys. And he sits kind of like that. And a lot of the toys as well. I mean, I've got an Ankylosaurus here, and the Ankylosaurus is just one solid piece with movable legs. And his eyes, you can't really tell from here, but his eyes and the way his mouth position make him look like he's just had a good swift kick in the nuts. He's like, so. And the Pteranodon had a moving action piece. The wings move like that. And one of the things about Dinoriders that was different to other toy ranges, the likes of Visionaries and Mask and Transformers, you could only have one of them. You know, you could only have one Leoric, or one Arzon, or one Mack Tracker, or one Starscream. With Dinoriders, there was a lot of generic characters, so it was perfectly feasible to have 20 Pteranodons, and then you just buy individual little figures to sit them in. So Tyco had a great marketing idea that instead of I've just realised this is actually broken. I never realised that. I've only just got it out of the box, so interesting. Oh well, I'll super glue it back together. So you could have loads of them. Okay, some like the T-Rex, you can only really have one of, but the smaller ones you can have dozens of them, So Tyco really did a good idea with that one. Okay, but yet the toy range was excellent. As I said, it was released again after 1990 through the Smithsonian Institution, and a lot of the toys were also redone for Cadillacs and dinosaurs. So they had two resets, two new series of them using these toys. So Tyco, the Dinoriders really are the crowning achievement in Tyco's bonnet, because it was a fantastic series, despite its cheesiness and despite its at times god-awfulness. I mean, once they go to the Ice Age and they bring Ice Age creatures back to the dinosaur era, it really did get a little stupid. Thankfully the cartoon cut off after that point. The other thing as well with the toys was that they've stood the test of time. I mean, they're quite expensive to buy now. They really are expensive to buy now because they are so nice. You know, they are really nice. I mean, a couple of them look a little dodgy in places, but for the most part, they're absolutely fantastic. And there's one I really want, which is the Crantosaurus, which is one of the rarer ones. And it's like this huge artillery piece. Oh, it's beautiful. But the biggest set is one of the rarest, and that's the Brontosaurus, right? There you go. Here's, I think it's Bitor, right? That's the size of a toy, of the figurine. Okay, the Brontosaurus, the dinosaur, was 3 feet long. It was huge. It's also extraordinarily rare. Very hard to find. Okay, but that's the Dinoriders video done. I'd say this is running to a lot of time. I just really hope it uploads, because I don't really have to say it all again, despite the fact that I've been itching to do this review for days now. But yes, this is Silverbolt with the Dinoriders, with Rasp, who is my favourite character in the whole cartoon, and I do really like his toy. This is Silverbolt with Rasp and the Dinoriders, signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.